Can't look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast for against all mothers. I assume that is two. From Gary, Indiana, more specifically neighborhood of Miller Beach. Again, I think. We are excuse me. We are distant kin that pride ourselves on having candid conversation rooted in being forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. I am your primary host, I assume. I don't know. We all talk pretty equitably. I don't know why I say primary, but
no, man, you're the best. You're the greatest.
I appreciate that, guys. My name is Josh. Want to welcome my other three brothers. We got Marco.
Welcome, everybody.
We got A-Dub, A.A. Ron.
Hello, everyone.
And Mr. Producer. the man with the captions and all the references and our fact checker, Adam.
Hey, peace, God.
He's got. Oh shit! Yo, on this beautifully sunny day, how y'all feeling?
Feeling great, man. It's amazing energy.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to do this every Friday. Or
man, it's something I look forward to too.
Yeah.
Too.
Man, me three. Sounds like we're all doing great.
Oh man. I don't know about y'all, but we were talking about this briefly, so I want to make sure we bring it to the air. We don't really, as guys inside of our social conditioning, get to explore this particular subject of your 5 love languages. And so a situation happened to me today, and I'm a preface it by saying my lady, my partner, my ace boom racial slur, she a big thing for her is affirmations, words of affirmation, giving and receiving, and I'm not really that person. You tell me, how attractive I am or something. I'm usually like, "Are you sure?" Like, I'll question it, even though it's a compliment and all that kind of stuff. But I'm grateful for it. I've learned to accept it. And so I was driving. I was driving from her place today, and as I'm at a stoplight, windows are down, sun is beating off my melanated skin, olive oil just shining and glistening. I say olive oil, coconut oil. Coconut oil just glistening in the light.
The extra virgin.
No, that coconut oil, unfiltered, Trader Joe's. So I'm sitting there and I'm just listening to something, and that thing happens where I don't know if other Black folks experience this, where if you're driving and you see people on the street, they just feel obligated to stop whatever the fuck they're doing and stare at you until you're out of sight
all the time.
Yeah, sizing you up
in the car though. Like I don't really exactly that very thing. Yeah. And so 2 ladies are passing by, and one Black, one white. And so I know that's not completely important to the story, but descriptions. And so as they're passing and walking across the street to go to the red line, the Black girl is eyeing me down. And in which I was going, oh shit, did I owe you money or something? Like, what's going on? Like, there's some ferocity, there's some ferociousness in this stare down. And so she gets to this side where my window is, and she goes, "You are a beautiful man." And I was like, "Whoa, thank you." Oh my goodness, I had to clutch my pearls and shit. And so, I wasn't expecting that to be what she was about to say, or that she said anything at all. And of course, my deaf ass, because I got the music blasting, I see that her mouth is still moving, and I can't hear anything else she's saying. So I'm like trying to look at the lights and make sure I'm not holding traffic, turn it down, engage her. It was too many things.
Grab for your mask. Like, bitch, 6 feet, bitch, 6 feet. I'm just,
she had more to say.
I'm kidding.
She had more compliments, Josh.
I apparently, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't. And because I'm awkward, and so genuinely, that made me feel good. Like it just, I could give a shit less about physical compliments, but the randomness of that just felt like good. And so, do y'all have any moments like that where you have to check it for yourself, or is that even like a conversation that you have had? Is it because of your girl, or is it with yourself where you're like, oh, these are my love languages. This is what I do. This is what I like to give. This is what I like to receive. All that under the sun.
That was one hell of an introduction. It's going to be rather hard to top. rather hard to go next. So
it's a question. You're not going next.
No, I'm just playing. Man. Just kidding.
And don't mind me taking a bite out this sandwich off screen because I'm hungry. So we keep it informal.
Yes, sir.
True.
But
well,
I guess I'll start.
I don't. Yeah, because I didn't want to say the same thing you said, but it was pretty much the same thing. Like when you was describing it. So I'll let you go.
Well, for me, like I'm okay. So there's some similarities here as well. Like for me, like I don't take compliments well. Like I don't know how to take compliments. Just put it that way. Well, I know you're supposed to say thank you and move on, but I, for whatever reason, I'll say thank you, but I still feel awkward for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even saying like physical compliments on myself. I'm like, maybe I made something and someone was like, oh, that's good, or oh, that was cool, or you're good at this thing, and I'll say thank you, but I still feel like, because I guess I'm never really like, I'm not gonna say I don't believe in myself, but I mean, like, I always feel like I can do better. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this isn't my best work, so
yeah,
so I'm.
And
like,
you know what's even interesting about that is because I've had those same sentiments. I don't know that I'm still there, but when you go like, it's hard for me to accept that because I'm either working on this thing or I've looked better other days or what have you. It's always this thing of like, that doesn't take away from what that person's experience is right now. And so that's the only place they're speaking from. And
exactly.
So there's like, hey, I find you fine as fuck right now. Then for you to feel like hesitant toward that is weird, but I don't have a more organic reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Marco, you were saying? I'm sorry, Aaron, Adam, you had more thoughts. My bad.
Yeah. Well, to touch on that part, like the physical part, I definitely I don't get physical compliments in public. This is not a thing. But as far as in my relationship,
you frightened.
But as far as my relationship goes, as far as my relationship goes, I get them, but even in my relationship, I still feel awkward. It's like I don't.
Yeah.
And I'll say thank you most of the time, or sometimes I'm like, that's not true, or something along those lines. Like this, like saying that the compliment that I was giving is somehow not true in a joking way, like
Yeah.
But as far as giving the compliments, I'm not good at that either, to be honest. And it's like, I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where like you in your head like I should work on this, but for whatever reason it kind of like just doesn't. It's like you open your mouth but the words don't come out, and
you start choking.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lose yourself reference, but
I had to. Bro. But I'm like waiting for him whenever that way.
But no, it's like like going back to like the love languages thing. Like, I didn't even know what they were like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So I guess for me, I'm still figuring out how to approach it. Even though I know I guess I know my love languages and I know hers.
You know all of them?
Yeah,
I
think.
It's acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, and gifts.
Yeah. So
Gifts, donations. Sorry, I had to say that.
but no, that's pretty much it. It's like, and to wrap that up, is like, I understand the concept of love language and stuff, but I guess I just need to get fluent in those languages.
And the thing about it is,
I like that.
all 5 will never be applicable to any person.
Yeah,
It's really usually like a top 2 on both.
That sounds like a punchline, like somebody would say, like, I'm fluent in all 5.
yeah. But yeah.
But you was done?
Yeah, I'm done. I was just fading off.
I was about to say, like the way that I agree with Adam was like, I don't really need, because he was saying earlier, like, he don't really need all of the, like, all the variety of all of them. Is more like a quality time thing mostly, and going places and doing things like kind of creative, but at the same time, like, probably less of the affirmations. So that's like he said, like, that's probably something like that I will have to work on too. But not that there's non-existence in my relationship, but like that's probably one of the ones, because we give each other gifts all the time. That's
that might be a primary love language for both of y'all.
Yeah, but it's more like gifts in terms of like outings, like that type of gift.
Oh,
which is like a mix of quality time and I guess is a mixture of them. But
yeah, that's real. Hey, Double, about you?
I just saw Adam smiling.
I don't know why.
I'm gonna follow suit.
About that, we was talking about like receiving compliments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I usually don't have a problem with that. I mean, from other people, outside of my relationship, I guess it's not that often, but I guess I don't be. I mean, lately nobody been out and about like that, like crazy. But when I do encounter that, it's just like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I probably get the most compliments on graphic T-shirts. It's probably like my high.
Let me not. I'm not trying to say this as if like just rando people all the time are like, yo.
No, yeah.
It's not that at all. At all.
When I'm wearing something like, cool like that or whatever, it's always
cool like that.
like when I had the like Dragon Ball Z shirt, like everybody was saying like, oh, that's cool. Everybody from our generation kind of grew up on that, so
absolutely
all those like theme shirts,
Yeah. Yo, I stayed in Hot Topic for them theme shirts.
Yeah,
man.
They have good shirts. They still do.
They still do.
Yeah.
I feel like at least in regards to like whenever I get a compliment specifically on like physical or whatever, I feel like I tend to be oblivious. Because I guess I'm really not expecting it. So when it comes, it's kind of like what Josh was saying. It's like a pleasant surprise, actually. Maybe that's something I need to work on my own self-esteem. But I've been told many times that I'm oblivious. I'll be with somebody like, oh, girl feels such and such a way, and I literally never saw it. So. But in regards to the love languages, I just learned about that. My girl actually introduced me to that, I think maybe a year or so ago. And mine is definitely quality time. I'm not sure exactly what the other ones are, but like my main one is probably quality time for sure.
Word.
I mean, even if we're in different rooms in the same place, I consider that like we're together in the same place. I'm just happy. You know what I'm saying? We don't always have to be on each other or whatever, or over each other's shoulder, but I just enjoy that quality time a lot. And I recognize that hers is touch, which actually entering this relationship,
Touch.
I wasn't, yeah. I wasn't huge on that. Like it just wasn't, I mean, I was okay with like holding hands in public or like a little smooch, a little PDA or something. But like in regards to like cuddles or something, which are fine, or just as much touch. I don't know, perhaps that's the way I was conditioned, or it just wasn't really my thing. So I definitely learned over time. And as I kind of got more, I guess, open to it or closer to her, I actually I enjoy things like cuddling and stuff now, but it's just something that I would never, it would be rare for me to reach out and like ask for or request it myself. Yeah. But I do enjoy it with her though, for sure. Just, it would be rare that I would actually request that myself though. It's just, I don't know if it would naturally come up, you know? But yeah, I was gonna say we were discussing the 16 personality quizzes as well, which might have a
hold on. No, what about a back scratch? You ever asked for those?
Yeah.
Back scratch?
That's a very good one. That's a very good question.
That'll affirm love for you. Like, oh right, I do love the fuck out of you. That back scratch.
That's the next level.
No, I haven't, but I have. Like, I am more likely nowadays to like just say yes when she requests to like give me a rub down or something. I'm pretty much gonna say yes now.
That's a great way to say it.
Dang, that term sounds so. I don't want to say aggressive, but it sounds like a rub down. I don't know. It's like I just think of like a slab of ribs, and then you put like
Indian, fucking Indian burn or something. Yo, give me your arm.
Rub down, like put like a dry rub on the slab of ribs is what I think of. But
no, I definitely
get what you mean.
More. I've definitely got
it's like
more
assume
open to
that they're rubbing fast for some reason.
That's interesting that she has to request to give you a rub down.
No, it's just more. Yeah, I guess it's like a. I know that touch is like big for her, and because it is, she's more willing to say, "Hey, you know, are you sore? Can I rub your back? Can I give you a massage or whatever it may be?" And she's more than willing. I probably never asked for it though. You know.
Yeah. See, my girl practices Thai massage. So as soon as I'm sore, I'm like this. Hey, I need you to dig in my calf a little bit. I need some elbow action. Use some sharp ass kneecaps.
I'm the masseuse of my relationship.
Yo, I'm getting there actually. Like, actually, the interesting thing is that like growing up, I've always been told that I could be a good masseuse, but I never cared for folks doing it or like, you know, I just never asked for it. But like I enjoy how much she likes it though. Like, it's nice to see your partner like, really appreciate something, because I know that's one of her major lung languages. So I do it, you know.
See, I feel like every person, every woman who ever told me like, "Oh my goodness, you could be so good at massage," I was like, I feel like you're someone who's eventually gonna love being choked, and this is just a because I think you just like strong grip, and like that doesn't necessarily mean I know how to knead a muscle. Like,
I'll be kneading, bro.
That's funny. I have a funny Thai massage story.
Oh, please.
Oh, you got the real time massage story.
If you will.
Go ahead.
It's not like that. So
happy endings? Nah, let me stop.
Back in
it sounded like it was a setup for that.
Yeah.
Something involving that.
Back in it had to be 2015. It had to be. It's crazy that was that long ago. But me and my lover went to Thailand, and I gotta go back. It's so fun. But anyway, we went to Thailand, and then there was this. So we actually let me get more detail. So we went to this island, which is actually a relatively common place to go. It's not like it's not unknown, but it's called PP Islands, which is kind of a funny name, but but so we went there, and that island essentially there's no culture there. Is literally just partying. That's the whole thing. So if you want culture, that's not the island you go to. So anyway, we go there, drinking and stuff, blah blah blah. Hours in, like, let's get massages because you can get one literally 24 hours a day. So anyway, so we stopped. And they're all over the place. You can literally just blindfold yourself and turn around, and there will be a massage place in front of you. So anyway, so we just go in this random one, and they're super cheap. So we go in this random one, like, yeah, we want massages. So we're on the table or bed, whatever the surface. I don't remember that type of details because I was pretty intoxicated.
Faded.
which is when you shouldn't get a massage. But so anyway, we're getting a massage, and I don't know what's going on because we're right next to each other. But I really don't remember I don't remember all the details, but I do remember farting and and everybody like in the room laughing and myself laughing, and then I remember throwing up into this like bucket, and that's all I remember from that.
Oh, okay,
so that's it. That was one of my Thai nights. It's just
I've got I've got some really good massages too, which is really interesting, man. If you go to the right places, you get some really good massages. And I was thinking of this. It hit me as I was actually talking. Like, I'm actually a hugger, so it's weird that I wouldn't like touch. Touch is really not one of my things, like my love languages. But like, I'm definitely a hugger, like very open to hugs. And I think it's interesting.
It's probably more so you're probably like touch is probably your thing when it's on your terms, I guess.
Yeah. I'm like a cat.
That's how I am. I don't, because for me, I'm not really into touch either, unless in my mind I'm ready to touch or to be touched. But random touching, I'm like, I'm just like, it's not really my thing. But I realize that is her love language without a doubt. So, there needs to be some compromise there. You can't just be like, the boy in a bubble in your relationship, walking around like so.
Yeah,
I don't mind it. So I don't mind.
Yeah,
me either. Yeah,
it really be like grown. I don't know that I've ever said. I've probably said more affirmations in this relationship that I have in my entire life. Of just like between when times when she'll just say like, "Hey, what do you find sexy about me today? What do you find beautiful about me today? Like, what do you enjoy about me today?" Or any other context of me just saying random stuff throughout the day. If she walks past me in the house, use that as a cat call opportunity to be like, "Woo! Damn, bitch, you find," like just like like just to do funny stuff like that in the means of like affirming her in those times. And especially non sexualized affirmations as well. But
yeah, that's a big thing, man. I think, especially when you think about how often women are used to being catcalled in certain ways. Like, it's nice to, I'm sure, to hear somebody like it feels more genuine probably when they hear it without the feeling of like intention of just trying to do this, or just trying to take.
Right. And in real life, she knows I'm doing it ironically because she knows she knows I could care less. And of course, by me going like, "Ooh, look at them yeeks in the wind," she's not really taking that like completely seriously. But
yeeks in the wind. It's a good
title. No, it's very interesting to think about, man. It's like as we speak, I'm realizing how much I've grown. I don't know if that's the right word, but like just become more open, I guess you could say. To I mean, not that I was not willing to compromise, because I was, but just more accepting and more accepting of the compromise for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely, when you learn like that it is more than what you are, like it's kind of crazy to like, you know, your partner may have the opposite love language as you, and it's like,
Right.
like y'all was saying, like we got to figure a way to like, not, I don't want to say meet in the middle because that don't sound like it's like a willing thing, but like,
Oh, fuck it.
like you,
Hashtag meeting.
however you want to describe it.
Nah, like compromise.
I'm joking. Yeah.
No, yeah, just kidding.
But yeah, and what's funny is we can call it a compromise, but is it really? You're just like, oh, this is the thing you need. It's not necessarily.
No, that's true.
Because like compromise would mean that you're sacrificing something, and you're not.
Yeah,
you're just
that's
like,
what I was kind of trying to say.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
you don't want to just say like, okay, here's a kiss because you know this is.
I know you need it.
Like, yeah. I know is your dosage for the.
Get your 30 cc's of affection.
Don't forget my gift later.
Yeah. Yo,
I ain't get no morning text. Where's my morning text? Like, yo, it's not
I need my 2,000 calories. Okay. I need my quota. No, that's really true though, y'all. It's like it's definitely like just accepting. It's interesting how I can see like I'm getting better at just accepting her how she is, you know, and it just things flow back. Like I'm just more willing to. She's more. I don't know. Yeah, just accepting the person how they are. Things seem to flow better, man. For sure.
Absolutely.
I find myself more willing to like even like request a cuddle or just go up behind her like. You know? And she's like, damn, oh wow.
And in real life, because I know building or sustaining friendships in adulthood is even more difficult than it is in childhood. But to break the fourth wall a bit and speak directly to the audience, don't think that love languages, in my opinion anyway, don't think that love languages are only applicable to intimate relationships. Because then that you may have like platonic friends that you have tight-knit relationships with, and you might not be feeding that friendship in the ways that they need it fed either. So just encouraging you, like, everything is a relationship, whether it be intimate or platonic.
I agree.
And all of it is love. And so if you are speaking, through whatever dimensions of love you're speaking through, just encourage you to investigate that for yourself. And so if you got a good friend and they're like, hey, I bought you something and gifts really ain't your thing, you should let them know, like, hey, I appreciate the gesture. If gifts is your love language, cool, I'll take it. But if you just got me this because you thought I wanted it, just come grab a drink with me. That's what I want, some quality time or whatever, what have you. So I want to jump into the real subject of the day. That has nothing to do with what the fuck we just talked about.
Nothing to do with love.
It's just a hard transition.
It's a real abrasive left, if you will.
Some seamless editing there.
some because hey, transitions. We don't
really need that.
The date is July 17th. We got a release schedule. I don't know off top. I know Adam does that. But when this gets released, some time would have passed, and more people have gone through this process of public cancellation through what is being referred to as cancel culture, in which I want to start offhand by saying something that has only existed for about 30 instances is not a culture.
That's a very good point.
Like it, what? I saw that furrowed eyebrow here.
What do you mean? Because it's just too new. It's still in its infancy.
It's too new, and it's too not necessarily seldom.
Is it, to me, is in a specific place, like
like cultures are too. So
it might be.
I mean, like
maybe a movement.
Yeah, sure. Like it's a cancel instance. Like it's not a culture. Like there's no culture built around this thing.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like
it's a mislabel. Go ahead, Mark.
It's on the internet. Like it's not in a geographical place. Like you can't.
Right.
it's basically like a mob of people who just want to outrage or whatever. To me, like I don't know.
Yeah.
And so there's we're specifically bringing this up for two instances that happened in more recent times. One that I wish I could have done more research on, but YouTube took that shit down with the quickness, and so couldn't actually watch the video, which was Nick Cannon on his radio show talking to. Do y'all know who it was? It was two, I think it was two cats from the nation.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it was. And so forgive us if y'all got the real facts out there and all of that kind of stuff. By all means, send them in. You can always email us at informedlyhonest@gmail.com and be like, hey, so you know how I just listened to a whole hour and a half of y'all talk about something that y'all didn't completely get? Here's all the facts. Right?
And don't kill us in the comments. Damn.
And kill us in the comments. Go ahead. I don't care. What you gonna say? Y'all know what y'all talking about. We never said we did.
That's right.
It's just a funny phrase to say.
You are willingly watching this.
Huh?
You are willingly watching this.
Exactly. Yeah. You turned it on.
If
you
you
knew
are
what you were coming to.
under the sound of my voice, you
clicked on my face.
Like we're glad you came, but like no one made you do it. And so Nick Cannon was talking to one or two cats. I think it was two from the nation, and got into what was said to be an anti-Semitic rant. And then the other one is apparently someone who's I've never listened to, Tory Lanez, shot Meg Thee Stallion in the foot. And apparently something that appeared to be a sort of drive-by.
There's a lot of foolery going on in the music industry and in that in that circle of people. I don't even know what
I don't know
how to categorize.
Because I do think Meg is very talented. This has nothing to do with her like actual talent, the situation. I'm just prefacing it by saying I do not particularly care about either of these people beyond the fact of them being people. I do think Meg is ridiculously gorgeous, which is neither here nor there. And I do think she's talented. I just don't really listen to her music.
I just feel like they
not exist.
The way they fumbling around this story is like it just seemed like they making up their own like version of reality. I don't think we're getting the whole or true story.
I doubt that. Like that's probably rare. That's probably rare.
Let's do this. Let's do these two stories in particular. We can broaden it out, right? After we get through these two.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the Tory Lanez Meg Thee Stallion thing, and we're doing something different that we never do. We never talk about actual like current events. So I'm sure we should probably make the preface that by the time this comes out, things may have changed and we may have more information.
Yeah,
we could say at the beginning of the podcast. I'm saying it now at I think like the 25-minute mark or something like that. You'll get it when you get it. We informal. So from what I read, Meg and Tory were having a verbal dispute. And then as she was exiting whatever premises they were at, Tory drove up. Some words were exchanged. She got shot. Cops showed up, took her to the hospital. No, I don't believe any charges were pressed. No one was arrested. She was shot multiple times, and she claims it was in her foot. She's just glad to be alive, et cetera, et cetera. And all of this is allegedly, right? That is what I read. Now, what this has to do with the actual situation is a post that we saw later was people saying that Tory Lanez is canceled because he shot Meg. And
I'm sorry.
I'm just like,
I know it's not.
Sounds so crazy, man.
I'm glad it's not fatal, but like the whole situation just sounds silly to me. Like
it really does.
The R&B singer and like just rolled up to make
what's that
rapper Meg Thee Stallion, the rapper. Like what?
Well, here's the thing.
I heard they was together, so I don't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Maybe that was early on in the whole thing, but I don't know. I really don't know. Like that was you describing that. You describing that is the first whole story I
me
heard.
too.
So
That's literally what I read today. Could
okay.
be different tomorrow. Who knows? And shoot, I had a thought. Oh well. What is clear to me of could be a situation is it would not be a foreign thing, or is not a foreign thing, that the ego of too many men is way too sensitive. And if Meg said the quote unquote right thing and pissed him off, and this is by that I mean Meg did something of her own agency to mind her own fucking business, and then he took that as a shot to his own ego. An example of this in a common day circumstance is a guy says something to a random woman on the street, right? Hey, you beautiful. Can I talk to you real quick? And she goes, no, thank you. I'm going to continue with my day. And he goes, well, fuck you then, bitch. Like it escalates because of his fragile ego. Don't know that this was a situation, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss this audience participation part of it, where there people are saying, you know, we canceling Tory if this is true, yada yada yada. And the post was like, y'all think y'all canceling Tory, but Chris Brown out here with a full ass career and a strong fan base, like he didn't beat Rihanna to within an inch of her life a decade ago. Yeah. Now, do I know the inner workings of that? No. Do I have friends that have worked with Chris Brown since? Yes. like that's true. I don't listen to Chris Brown's music. I could care less. I think that piece of what's that metal thing that you wash dishes with?
The little scraper thing. SOS pad.
Yeah, that SOS pad of a hairstyle that he had for one period. I thought that was infuriating. But beyond that, and I have been checking for Chris Brown. I do know that he has a strong fan base and all of that kind of shit. But did the cancellation work? Go ahead, Adam. Sorry, I've been talking too much.
No, I was gonna say. So I saw the post, obviously. So for me, the thing that stands out the most about that post is, I'm pretty sure it was a guy that typed it, and for me, it felt like one of those situations where there's a guy. I'm not saying he claimed to be a feminist or anything, but it's one of those situations where a guy claimed to be a feminist to get cool points, and that's kind of what it felt like. He's like, y'all don't care about black women, and he was like trying to come off as he does more than anybody else. Like he's the king of caring about black women. And what drives me crazy about the post is he's making it sound like Chris Brown's fan base is black men when it's not. So
I think that's called like virtue signal.
Virtue signal. Yes.
Yeah. So like he's saying like y'all don't care about black women because Chris Brown still has a career, but I mean, you need to go and look at some of Chris Brown's live shows and tell me who's in the audience, because it ain't black men, it's women.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: do you think that he was saying that to black men?
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
only reason I ask is because I don't know who Tory's fan base is either. To be honest,
yeah,
Tory black men.
What's crazy to me is that, like the whole with the council culture, like when they first started having that term or whatever, or doing that, they used to target people like we know, like the cancel culture used to come after people. It seemed like this is obvious, like R. Kelly, like, you know,
people in power, like powerful people.
That too, like, right. You know, who have a pattern in history of you know, outrageous things. Okay, I understand that, but this is still an open case. Like, we don't really know. Y'all can't just be above the law and just like. I mean, I know they're not physically like going and killing people, like, but it's like.
I mean,
but people be ready to shut down folks' whole career.
Yeah, man.
Before you got facts.
Right. Exactly.
It just
like,
in which
is a bit premature. Like, Just sit back and get the information first, because
which I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
It sound like they made up like a bunch of like mumbo jumbo, like to me, because I don't know. Like,
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, what's the best thing that can happen to a rapper for your career is to get shot? Like for a lot of these people, I'm not saying like.
No, you're right.
I'm not saying she willingly got shot. Like, or
that's true.
Well, like
it's been happening a lot lately.
Yeah, I mean,
through history.
Yeah, I mean, getting shot and going to jail can do wonders for a rapper's career.
What
I guess what I'm saying
is
live that life.
Yeah. It's silly. It's absolutely silly and ridiculous. But to common folk, that impresses them. Like, man, he real.
That really, I think that if that's true, I think it mainly applies to rappers where that's the bulk of their content, in which they're not mixed content.
That's
well,
true,
yeah,
that's true.
but she still talk tough though. You know,
she
is that she, you know, a lot of is that type of rapper that, you know,
she's a savage,
tough things, you know. But my point was really that these people do publicity stunts constantly. Like, I wouldn't put it past them that this is like okay, she probably shot herself in the foot. And let's spin this like, you know, like Tory Lanez
coming out in 2 months. Yeah.
Tory Lanez. I'm not saying that this has happened. I'm just saying publicity stunts happen, and Tory Lanez got a history of nonsense, and I just don't put it past like people just to kind of not make up a story, but just kind of change the details in a way that'll, you know, benefit you.
Oh, I mean,
especially people, especially celebrities, you know, celebrities.
Right. Aaron, go ahead.
I was gonna say for sure, like it's hard to assume that somebody doesn't have an agenda. At least when they go, like at least in regards to the way they go about releasing the information. You know, it's like that's probably rare that you get both sides.
I mean, the thing is, I get publicity stunts because that's the same shit. What's his name? September. August Alsina.
It's professional trolls out here, man.
I'm like, that's the same shit he just pulled with this whole Will and Jada shit.
Yeah, I never even heard of that dude before until this.
Me either. I don't never heard him before.
I heard of him. He got a lot of them whiny songs, you know.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know he was a musician.
All right, yo. So y'all like in what context did August Alsina feel the need to come out and like explain his situation with Jada? Like, was he prompted, or like why did he do that?
I didn't see the whole interview. I don't really know, but it's the point. The point of the matter is, it had literally nothing to do with anything.
I'm like, you could have just left that between them, like between them three.
And he had music coming out. He was releasing an album or something like that. And in my world, I'm like, it sounds like you just need to put that out there. And now Will and Jada got to go clean it up and all that kind of stuff. In which I'm not even gonna. We're not even gonna get into all that because I don't
publicity stuff.
I don't care at all. It's just publicity stunts. Yeah. But the Nick Cannon thing is on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
Because again, allegedly, because I don't know and I didn't get to see the whole interview, I saw a short clip in which I hesitate with clips because they make you hear what they want you to hear, and I didn't get to hear the whole conversation. He said some anti-Semitic things in which I'm pretty sure it was primarily geared towards some level of whiteness or white Judaism. In which there is a separation because Black Jews get written out of conversations in history all the time. And long story short, he gets dropped from white Twitter goes crazy about it, Jewish Twitter goes crazy about it, and he gets dropped from Viacom. They own Wildin' Out, so he ain't even taking that with him. He loses Masked Singer, he loses the show, he kind of gets fired from everything. And one, do you think that's gonna last? Two, do you think Diddy or Tyler Perry are coming to the rescue? What?
I think I heard that P. Diddy did reach out and say you got a home or you got a place to revolt. Is that true?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, if he doesn't own the show, I mean, I guess he can make a new show. But I mean, I don't know how successful it would be starting over. I mean, honestly, I haven't watched that show in years. Not because I actually like the show. I just, I don't even have cable anymore, so it's just hard to keep up shows like that. But I mean, I hope wherever he lands, I hope if he lands somewhere, I hope he's successful. I don't know exactly what he said, but I've heard bits and pieces, and man, it did sound a bit rough. But
I don't know what he said at all.
Yo, I spoke to actually I should have done more research. I spoke to a homie of mine at work, a coworker who actually briefed me on this a little bit. So these are his words. He was saying that he was speaking to those two other gentlemen about how the Holocaust seems to get portrayed as like the worst tragedy ever, when there was plenty of other situations where
that's true.
I guess there were other situations in history where more, I guess, people who weren't white were something in the form of genocide happened. So I mean, that's his word saying like it was kind of he was kind of denouncing that as like the worst tragedy in history or whatever. So that's what I heard that they didn't like.
What's anti about it?
From what my homie was saying, he was just speaking certain facts. He was just speaking certain information and bringing it to light because it doesn't get much light. That's what he was saying. Now, after that, apparently he put out some tweets where he was saying like, I want full rights to. He was commanding full rights to Wild 'N Out, and then a little bit after that, apparently he put out an apology. So we don't know what happened in between him commanding the rights to Wild 'N Out and then putting out an apology. I don't know if like cancel culture started or what.
And here's the thing. By all means, there's always a distinction between action and intent. The thing you did versus the thing you intended to do, or the thing you said and intended, and you're saying yada yada yada. There's always that distinction. And I'm not even really trying to unpack that little bit of information because I'm sure that's a small fraction of what the conversation was.
Yeah.
Because that what you said isn't anti-Semitic to me. And the other side of that is this is no disrespect to the Holocaust, because the Holocaust did happen. The Holocaust was a horrible tragedy, tragic thing that happened in history. It was also 5 years?
I think so. I'm not sure that the length of time. I'm not sure.
Like 39 to 45 or something like that. That could be.
That's what I'm saying. It's like 39 to 45, like 5-6 years, right?
I want to talk about the fact that or the question that was raised, will he bounce back? I think that there's enough outlets at this point that are out. I mean, we at a time where we can make our own platforms.
Yeah, our platforms.
So
our platforms exist.
Exactly. So it's like you're not gonna take no hit by teaming up with P. Diddy or whoever it may be. Just I'm sure he will go for it, but I'm just saying I don't see much of a risk here. We create the content, and the fact that we have platforms, it should be a no-brainer. Just I'm sure he have enough quality creative ideas, for shows and whatever. He does it all anyway, So it's like
in those $2 million shoes.
So you haven't canceled him. So
I want to believe that. I don't think he's fully canceled anyway. No. But I want to believe that the bounce back will be equitable, because we have our own platforms, but to my knowledge, because I don't know, I don't think that Revolt and Viacom are on the same level, and that has to do with plenty old racist and prejudiced actions that led to that. Viacom been evil since inception.
Also, with that is a technology discussion, because who watches TV that much like anymore. You know, like is a certain type of person. I mean, you know, that watches. I mean, I from now and then watch local stations, but like,
I don't even get local station.
but my point is like nobody's really checking on that. So like you could make a lot of money away from TV at this point. So it's like no one's begging to be on CBS very much.
Yeah.
So just go where the people are already.
The issue.
Go ahead, bro.
I was saying to me, his biggest issue is it's not even the platform he ends up on, whether it's Revolt or whatever that is, or even if he makes his own, he can make his own. But like the issue is like as far as Hollywood is concerned, I mean it's essentially run by Jewish people. So it's like you don't want them to be your number one like enemy. It's like, you know, because you need them to make all those deals.
I don't think
you could get blackballed in some way.
I don't think we need Hollywood.
I agree. I mean, I agree. It's like it helps.
I'm just wondering, like, maybe it is a technical thing that I don't know. Like, which resource is it that they have that we can't or don't have?
I'm just assuming that, like,
clout.
Let's say, like, for instance, like Viacom is probably has who knows how many other companies under their umbrella. So who knows how many hands they have in all across Hollywood and can make certain decisions and just long money, what they call it, you know.
But I guess my thing is, it's not like platforms don't exist by all means. If folks really hated some of the more racial practices of Netflix, they'd run to Quelly TV. But you ain't hearing black folks talk about Quelly TV streaming service like that. And that's no slight to Quelly. By all means, they're doing what they're supposed to do as far as building up a black streaming service. But it could be those same things on anything. Oprah, yes, and Oprah Network gets to produce all of the, you know, Queen Sugar and all of that. But in the grand scheme of it all, how much of that programming is black beyond the faces that we see? Are the producers black? Is the crew black? Are the executive producers black? Like, if the behind the scenes ain't as black as the imagery, which is the case for most television,
pretty much all of it.
That's what I'm saying.
So, except Black Panther is like the only thing that I know of that had like black people working across the board. Now there might be more.
Most of the crew on Black Panther wasn't black.
Oh, okay. Well, I
all the actors. All the
much,
actors were black, and the director was black, and costume designer was black. But the you know, it's still Disney money. It's still producing it. It's still all the stage hands, the grips, etc. All of them white.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those stage hands, just like the crew behind the scenes in Hollywood, is black. I wonder what percentage of that.
Probably very small. It wouldn't surprise me if it was less than 3%.
And like, do they use the same ones, like from movie to movie to movie? Are they like requesting these specific people?
I wonder
that one.
Well,
I would assume it's. I would assume it's like any other business, like people with the most experience, people, you know, like if you have this one guy that's worked on like these 3 gigantic Hollywood blockbusters, like, let's get that guy because, you know, he's been around. But, you know,
the boom mic.
Yeah.
As soon as you work with Scorsese, you in.
Yeah. And so that's always just my question as far as in real life of these people who have been canceled, and who is it really worked on besides R. Kelly and maybe Bill Cosby?
I would say it's worked on quite a few people.
But
let me.
Okay.
People start.
Let me
sales went up though. R. Kelly's sales went up.
I was about to say that, like, just really quick. Like, I feel like to us, I feel like more than we know, people who are just like out of the mainstream eye doesn't mean they're not successful making money in other ways. We just don't know about it. It just seems like
because
they ain't popping. They ain't like they ain't popular, so they must be written off because they ain't
because
put out
there's
an
no
album every 2 years or
follow up.
whatever.
In reality, you canceling the idea of what they did.
You cancel their
You know what I'm saying?
popularity, like their fame, their idea of it. Yeah.
Right. You canceling the idea of what they did stands for, and you don't like that. You want to dismiss it, and you call it cancel, but you got to realize you're talking about a person.
I agree with that all across the board, though. You know, like the thing I don't like about cancel culture is it feels convenient. It's like as soon as one person takes it personal or whatever, it's like, all right, fuck that. They gotta go. Their career, everything has to go.
Yeah, I
which doesn't leave
understand.
any room for like growth and recovery, etc.
I'm like, but the same people would want that if they did some shit. It's like you'd be begging that somebody gives you another chance with some room for growth. It's like, dang, man.
And that's where that conversation comes in, where people go. Some folks who are have more fame or whatever feel that the reason why people do that is because they know for whatever social clout celebrity has with it, this gets that's the one way that like Joe, every person gets to feel like they have power because they're controlling that person's situation.
Right. That's basically what we was talking about earlier about virtue signaling. Like that's what they doing on a grander scale. Like, okay, I'm with this group that got the best, like morals or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think is so whack, man.
I mean,
I agree with you. Like people, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I am against cancel as a whole. I don't necessarily love the idea of cancel culture, but I do believe that there are some individuals that need to go away.
Absolutely.
I just do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that like I was saying earlier, like them repeat people, like there's no brainer. Like
like
cancel them individually. I mean, to me, if you cancel somebody, it's like, what's the point of joining up with other people and keep talking about it? It's like if you canceling something, to me is just okay. That's not a part of me no more.
We don't fuck with that.
That's how,
right?
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just like a go. It's just like them
canceling.
Like bragging it
should not be a thing. It should just be a, okay, this is not something that we really mess with no more. Which I guess is kind of the same. It may seem like the same thing, but in my mind, I just think like it's an individual effort. Like cancel the things that don't feed you or don't please you or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a big difference, and maybe the step is necessary, and not just, and we just aren't necessarily like giving it that amount of weight. But it seems as if people would just affirm for themselves, like, I don't fuck with this person or their work anymore. And if you're sharing space with me, I ask that you don't, in a way that I have to engage it. If you want, we were just me and my lady was just having this conversation the other day. Somebody was bumping Happy People the other day. Happy People, right? Bumping it down the street because a lot of people could care less, and they separate R. Kelly's art from his pedophilia. And we were like, yo, that's one thing. If you want to listen to R. Kelly and whatnot, we just had the conversation on the previous episode where I did think he was hilarious, but I'm like, I can live without him. And so I'm like, if you want to listen to it, put on some headphones. But when you put this on a speaker that a block can hear,
it's kind of like the Confederate flag situation. Like, okay, y'all saying what y'all like of the time or the times it used to be, or whatever positive thing they can conjure up to relate to it, they do. But like, enjoy that inside of your house. Like, we don't need to see that displayed. because that's something that you need to just practice on your own, because we don't associate that with the same thing
Right.
as you do. So,
Or
and
don't.
there's a large
but-
consensus that we don't. So, I feel like people try to make those statements like you may be bumping at R. Kelly to make a statement like, I still F with him, like I don't care what. Okay, like just keep that to yourself.
But that's the end.
Yeah, people do stuff out of spite.
Yeah.
People are so like, okay, like there's a street in Lake Station, and at one point it had 3 Confederate flags. There was 3 homes with Confederate flags on that street in Lake Station, Indiana. Now there's 2, but there was 3. But originally there was 2, and then after this, the big controversy about the Confederate flag popped up again, like it does every year.
Mhm.
Then this house put a Confederate flag up, like, oh, okay, well, and they put it up out of spite.
Right.
Then,
it's like I'm making my stance. Like, this is something I want to hold on to. Like, it's
in which you're in Indiana.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta finish this. So, like, like, so the first talks of the Confederate flag, they're like, okay, I'm gonna put the flag up. Then when it got really hot, they took the flag down. They're like, all right, I don't want that smoke. But then there's another situation where like there's this other house in Portage, Indiana, which is right next door. So remember, this might have been last year. Remember when Colin Kaepernick, when Nike came out with that shoe and they were like displaying the Betsy Ross flag with the circle star pattern, whatever.
The original 13.
Yeah, and Colin Kaepernick came out and was like, this flag is blah 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 whatever, and he was like, he disagreed with that design, and then Nike took the shoe down, whatever, blah blah. This house, like when that controversy blew up, this house erected that flag. So it's like nobody cares, man. Like you put the flag up, but it's like, and they do it out of spite, like just to make the point. And it's like,
that's like people in this whole mass shit.
That's
like people in this whole mass shit where like the basic thing about wearing a mask is even if you don't care, it's just consideration to other people. Just put on a fucking mask. And like, no, it goes against my right. What right?
Yeah.
What right has?
Yeah. Why stand on this hill like? The one that could be fatal for people.
It's so silly, man.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
Like you're that stubborn that you're willing to put people at risk. I don't understand. That's like with the racist stuff, man. Like I don't like to keep going back to that, but like we could draw all of these lines, but like there's a lot of things that this can apply for. It's just crazy that people are willing to be that stubborn, man.
Yo, I just be finding it. It's just so crazy to me how much, even like the American flag, and I hope we don't get canceled. I apologize for what I'm about to say, but like, yo, you mentioned the American flag and you asking for it. No, it's just crazy how much power like we have in this flag, like. Like just like as this symbol, it's like
maybe it's time to change the flag.
It's just,
it's been changed many times.
You can't. You're supposed to hold it a certain way. You're supposed to fold it a certain way. You can't eat on it. Like damn, you like, and that's supposed to like raise it up a certain.
And that, and that's a military thing, right?
For the most
part, I'm talking about just in general, like in society, like in this nation, it means so much. It's like, yo, what is this belief for this flag doing for people, like individual people? I don't know.
But it's contradictive because you go through all of that, but then you put it on bikinis and
exactly. Like I saw somebody take with a mask and had the American flag. So like, you mean to tell me? And I'm not saying this man thought this, but you mean to tell me that Colin Kaepernick, minding his business, taking a knee during the national anthem, is somehow disrespecting the flag and the song and all that? But you wrapping this flag across your crusty mouth is not disrespectful to the flag. Like, it makes no sense to me.
It's just like, man, that shit just be blowing my mind. Any flag, I just like, what does this symbolize for you to to like really go like that. Now I'm all for a nation getting together and like just appreciating that, like that just the energy of like appreciating together. Whatever it is, but I will never understand. And if you say, like, people will get up and fight you if you disagree. If you say anything, if you just offer a different opinion, it's like, damn, yo, what does this do for you individually? Are you getting a raise at your job? Like, is your boss like hooking you up? Like,
as we said, as we've talked about briefly before, people in this country, especially rural white Americans, are conditioned since childhood to feed into false patriotism that treats America, whatever the fuck that is, right? Because we say America like that, like it's not two different continents, but they treat the states like it's this omnipotent being that you should never question or for fear of persecution or some shit. And it's just not a thing.
Yeah. It just seemed like certain people just want to preserve every old way of thought, way of everything. It's like the good old days, like some notion that it was a good old day, you know.
And it's never existed.
Yeah,
you know,
like fighting some sense of change. It's like, oh, I'm threatened.
There's no point of holding on to everything that it used to be because it's impossible. It can't function the same anymore because everything is evolved differently. You know.
Yeah. But I do
economics, every aspect of how we live is different.
Yeah. I wish the rules would evolve with it, man. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So to get back on the flag, because I'm about to rant for a minute.
Let's hold on.
Go.
Hold on, bro. Hold on.
Take a bite of my sandwich real quick. I'm
gonna sit back.
All right. So now I gotta live up. So what makes it so okay? This is coming from a 10-year U.S. military veteran. So I don't want nobody like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking. Like whatever. So
no, that's really good that you say that though. That's a really good that's credibility.
Yeah, it is. So like, I find it so interesting that I'm going on a limb by saying this because I don't know what the practices are in other countries, but I feel like America is the only country that, and this probably isn't true, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. I feel like America is the only country that puts so much into a. I heard this woman call the flag a polyester blend, and I thought it was the funniest thing. But we put so much into this flag, and it seems like America is the only country in which the flag represents the military for some reason. There's countries that don't even have militaries. So what does their flag represent? The flag does not equal military whatsoever. The flag is just it's a symbol of the people that live in the country.
Yeah.
And that's it. But people think it's directly related to the military. I mean, the military definitely flaunts it around all the time because the military is supposed to be a defensive unit of the country. So like, okay, we're defending the country. Obviously, we can't put all 330 million citizens on this flagpole, so we're gonna do the flag instead.
That's the main reason I didn't understand the outrage of the Colin Kaepernick thing because they missed the point. Like it don't have anything about it. Don't have nothing.
And they knew
to
that.
do.
Correction. They did not miss the point. They made a new point.
Right.
They knew that. They knew it. And the reason why it's like they knew that. They definitely.
And by they're talking about media outlets who influence narrative around the situations that we come to know.
Right. They like to cite things and paint a narrative that's not there for a better story, basically.
Yeah.
And people bite.
Yeah. They definitely do.
Aaron, Yeah, Adam, you were saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, and people's obsession with the military is just, it's weird. Like, the military is supposed to be a defensive unit that protects a nation. The U.S. military has turned into an offensive unit, so they're going out and doing all these things, and that's one of the reasons why I got out. I didn't want to be a part of an organization that, and to me, felt like the world. I mean,
Fire
people
Nation
use
from
this.
Avatar.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people use this term all the time, but like the world police, essentially. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I just didn't understand why we have a base or some type of something like a base in almost every country. I mean, obviously not every country, but we have bases all over the country. And I'm trying to think, what would America do if Sweden was like, hey, we want to open up a base in Arkansas? We would be like, absolutely not.
True.
But
Good
what
point.
gives us the right to set up shop all in every continent, essentially? And it's just like, and also, I mean, not to be grim, but also I didn't want to be a part of an organization that killed people, frankly, regardless of the reasoning. Like, I get that there are people trying to kill Americans. I get that terrorism, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But for me, as the years went on, I was like, well, this isn't my fight. I don't want to be a part of this fight. It's not my fight to fight, I feel like. So
Yo, that's
like,
really real.
I feel
Yeah.
like most of the things they do are covert,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it has to be a certain level of that in every government. But I think that it's gotten out of hand in our government.
Yeah.
It's like even when they are caught doing things, we're at a point where they could just be like, "Oh well, we made a mistake,"
Yep.
and then just it's over. You know?
Yeah.
And it just seems like in real life, most countries, their bartering for the weight of their dollar, etc., is usually has to do with holding some sort of resource. And last time I checked, the main and of course I don't really know, but if unless I'm mistaken, the main resources that used to come out of the States were coal, cotton, steel, and corn.
And look, Gary, we're not
Like
making
and
steel like that no more.
and I'm making steel like that no more.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. America at this point represents, people who are trying to preserve old ideologies to me.
But it doesn't help anything.
Exactly. It's just that's the only thing I could think of at this point. Like the way that Bush is trying to keep alive these cold places and the
Bush?
whole thing, all them presidents, like
like
All of
they
them.
keep,
I was like,
it was a promise. Remember when he was running though, he was saying like, we're gonna get the steel mills back, we're gonna get the coal back, we're gonna get the all the stuff that
I'm not even gonna shit you because we were in like sixth grade when Bush was running. I don't know nothing.
Bush, I'm talking about Trump. He did
Yeah,
he
I know
said all
Trump's
the
talking about bringing back coal.
Yeah,
Trump's
Trump's always
coal jobs.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I meant to say Trump. But,
okay, I'm sorry. I promise I wasn't trying to troll you. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck Bush was talking about.
well, he was saying that too. Like,
I'm sure. I know some stuff in post, but I don't remember.
I mean, he didn't even have to say he did that, but
true. But it is literally that thing where I'm like, to complete my thought from earlier because I realized I didn't. We don't really have that many resources coming out of the States, except fear of our military
and entertainment.
Entertainment
is probably our biggest export.
Export, right?
Mm-hmm.
but that's not necessarily feeding the American infrastructure
because that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Now,
not in any real way, anyway.
Yeah,
right.
And I feel like technology makes it so that we're gonna lose grip on that anyway. Like,
yeah.
Of course, Hollywood.
I mean,
Hollywood, we got that, but it's already an international game. Like everything that we thought we had a grip on. That's why I think again, they just preserve. They trying to preserve their spot, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Like everybody is trying to do that in the grand scheme of the world, but other people are evolving and innovating, and that's not innovative to try to hold on to old ways of doing things. That's destroying people and is destroying the earth or what, things that have a negative impact. That's not an evolution, that's crazy that
What
it's because
what
of
it
money.
always
It's
seems like.
because of money.
Sure.
But that's all.
What it always seems like is
I don't want to go into that.
I feel you. What it always seems like is in addition to not wanting to change and innovate, the innovation always goes toward how do we find a new way to be able to do the thing we always do.
Yeah,
but
make money.
Okay, like people.
I was thinking more
Like
specific.
people. No, go ahead.
Like the whole car thing. Like y'all rather use gas and all this oil and all these ways of engineering, that's hurting things. Like we already got the template, to put it into place, but they trying to keep up certain corporations,
and an image
that have such an influence on our government. Is all of these corporations is like, is their interest, is not the people's interest.
But the thing, that's the thing about being a republic and not a real democracy. The government doesn't really give a fuck about people, and it doesn't have to.
Right. And
all it has to do is keep up the image that people have control or power.
And I think
they willing to go the fuck they want to.
I think they willing to go to extremes, and excuse me, like I think that we are often like casualties of their plots or whatever, like their schemes.
Yeah. Take for
like
example,
they don't care.
A few years back with that those protests of Native Americans, I think it was in North Dakota, where they were about to build a new pipeline. And they kept going, do not build this because you're going to spill. It's going to ruin the land. We don't want this to happen. They water hosed them, all of that. Media barely covered it like it wasn't happening. They still built that pipeline after so long of protest, and it did exactly what the fuck they said it was going. What they were trying to keep from happening. And the media barely even covered the fact that it did.
I know, yeah.
And that's the key part of it. The whole media involvement in it is treacherous. It just seemed like if you control the media and the direction of our country, is like you damn near do need a revolution in order for things to change. Like,
it's kind of like with the George Floyd thing. Like when the protests were destructive and all that, there was all this coverage. When they became peaceful, the coverage dropped off. So
they tried to act like it stopped happening.
Yeah. And people are still protesting, right?
Very much. People are still very much protesting.
Yeah.
Because nothing actually changed.
Yeah.
Hell, did y'all do? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to say this. I do want to just kind of wrap up my point for the day, I guess, as far as like the America thing. It's like, and going back to what Marcus was saying, where he's like, people want to hold on to like the past, and like when you look at Trump, his America First slogan and all that, that's like some old racist, slogan from like the 30s or 40s. I don't know. I might be messing those years up, but it's some old thing. And it's like people also, and adding to what Mark said, like people want to hold on that America is like the greatest country in the world, whatever. And at one point on paper, literally just on paper, and maybe financially and all that stuff, it probably was. But now, I mean, technology wise, we're not killing it, like Japan, Korea. Like Korea has been a dependent country from like the North and all that for like 60 years, maybe 70 years. And they've done a ridiculous amount from the time from like the 50s to now. It's like, it's insane. They went from being a poor country to a very wealthy country and leading the world in a lot of technology. Samsung, LG, Kias used to suck 20 years ago. Now Kias are pretty nice.
Yeah.
So we're that technology race, and China as well, and that technology race, we are losing that without a doubt. And that's huge. Now technology is like the thing you want to lead in if you want to be if you want to be taken serious. And then this COVID-19 thing, I said this like maybe the first episode. I was like, COVID-19 has exposed America, and it just, as we see now, 7 months in, we're breaking records as far as like cases. Like there's other countries that are going back to normal, and we're like still trying to figure out what to do. It's like it's a joke.
You hear like
America's a joke.
Stuff. You hear states like opening up for like 2 weeks and then reclosing again because everything.
America has become a joke. It's the laughing stock right now.
As a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, in Atlanta, I think the last episode I mentioned that there was a mask mandate. At least the wise mayor issued that, but the governor banned it.
Yeah.
So,
and today I learned that the governor is suing the mayor of Atlanta for
who has COVID.
Yeah, he's suing her because she was like, no, you have to wear. She went against him and said, no, you have to wear a mask. So he's suing her now. And
it's crazy because she's not even the first one. There was like 2 other mayors in Georgia who did it first.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to, you going to sue them all? They were the ones who actually stepped up and stopped saying, okay, we're going to rely on encouraging the people to do the shit that they're clearly not doing and make it a mandate. A leader. That's being a leader.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Did y'all hear about this shit in the Breonna Taylor case?
What?
Nope.
I might have heard it, but
I'm probably gonna botch some of these details. But I read it, I think it was a day or 2 ago, that the mayor had had a part in trying to cover up her murder because they're trying to gentrify that area.
Oh, wow. Oh, I did hear about that. I did. I spent a lot of time listening to NPR these days, and
allegedly
on the
allegedly,
route. But I did hear that as well. Yeah, I think they're doing some investigating on there. But I think that this might be a different case. But correct me if I'm wrong. No. It's just So this is the same case where the officers, unfortunately, were investigated by the same. You know how typically whenever you have a situation like this, it's better to get outside a third party who has no affiliations to do a fair investigation, but they're not. You should have heard the snippet of the interview. The dude was pretty much just saying, I'm answering for you. So you had no idea what you were going into, right? So you didn't mean to do that, right? So so pretty much you were not at fault, right? He's like, yeah, that's right. It's like, that's insane, man.
And that's the issue with the police. The police unions are if they got rid of the police unions, that would solve a lot of policing issues, because essentially it's impossible for police to be held accountable for the most part.
Right.
And and the fact that the police officers are investigated by other police officers is the weirdest thing that's weird. That's like when we used to take tests and quizzes in school or whatever, and then we would take our test and pass it to the next person, and then they would cheat for you or whatever. It's the same thing. It's
man, I'm that'll never make sense to me, or how people act confused about it was under investigation by Joe from the second floor. What do you
yo, copy machine Joe? Oh hell no.
We go bowling together all the time.
It's like, I'm definitely his son's godfather, but I will make sure that I have a fair and unbiased investigation of him killing this innocent Black woman that was just trying to sleep. But
yeah, man. It's like, it seems like when we get power at some point, it's just like we just don't want to let that shit go. It's just really hard when somebody's in power. It's hard for them to realize that they're doing something wrong or that's not fair. And then even when they do, and it's in their faces, like it's really a struggle to get them to like accept it and then actually be willing to move to something more fair. It's
honestly,
crazy,
Aaron,
man.
I want to. I'm a gas up how much I admire that you think people are implicitly good.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
While I vehemently disagree. Because
how much time do we have?
Only because you're saying that, you know, power is the thing that corrupts people, and I would argue that people work for power so they can do that.
Yeah, I would say that people's idea of things and ideas of themselves are the thing that's like corruptible. Like this idea they have of themselves and what having this could do for them. You know,
I think people work to get some level of power so that they can implement that fuckery on people lower than them. Yeah. Or bystanders to their decisions. Not they get there and then they are corroded by having the power and then make those decisions. I think people work for that shit.
I do, I actually agree with you. I'm just saying that like before they get it, all they're going off is the idea of getting it or the idea of what they could become when they have it based on the shit that they're seeing from other people. They don't know for a fact at all until they actually experience it. So they're just working off this idea.
Well, I don't know, because I mean it's been kind of pretty much proven that, you know, once you put that badge on, that you're pretty much untouchable unless, you know, I mean, yeah, you're pretty much untouchable. You can kill kids, you can kill women, you can do a lot of stuff, and
you can kill people with full evidence of you being in the wrong.
Shoot somebody in the back,
and say that you felt scared.
Yeah,
you can shoot someone trying to get into their locked car and say that you felt threatened.
Well, that also, I mean, if you were to bring that up, then we have to bring in everybody who's viewing. We have to bring in everybody who's investigating. We have to bring in the society's idea of how things should be and how things have been. We have to bring in a lot more if we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? To like make that evaluation. We have to bring in a lot more. Why do you think they're getting away with it all the time? Like, how did they stay in this power? How did society become this way in the first place? Like, we have to acknowledge that. We can't just, you know. In my opinion, if everyone stood up, if everyone agreed that they need to be treated with the same, like that. In regards to punishment, they need to be treated the same way as everybody else. I think we could have more of a movement, meaning everybody, every race. You know, like
I think enough people say it, but if you've built a power structure that says "fuck what y'all think or believe," we can do it anyway. But Adam, you were about to say something.
No, I was going to say I think the issue comes from like decades of turning away from what's going on. And what I mean by that is like you often hear people say, you know, more white people get killed by police every year, and that's true. That's a true statement. But the thing is, the ratio is what makes it. You know, it's more white people in the country, so blah blah blah. Yeah. So it's the ratio that's not proportionate. But that's not even the point I'm making. Like people say that, and then they say it like, well, more white people get killed, and we're not protesting, and we're not tearing stuff up, and we're not upset. Well, the fact is, the white community in the United States of America has never had a reason to believe the police were maliciously killing them. So in their mind, when a white person gets killed by the police, they're like, oh, he must have done something wrong because they're not killing us for no reason, because why would they? So if you take decades or even a century of that mindset, was like, well, the police, they only kill people when they have to, because they're not breaking down our doors, killing us while we sleep. They're not killing our kids that are just playing in the park. They're not doing that to us. So we trust them. Fast forward to today, with all the videos coming out and blah, blah, blah. Now people are saying, oh no, the police really are out of hand. But now you're like, well, yeah, you're like 50, 60 years late. And now we're trying to get stuff changed. And it's like, it's hard to change something that's been set in stone for a century. It's hard to.
Yeah, but I think it's fueled by people, like society's idea of it, the people's idea of this. Like what is society anyway? Really, we created the shit, and it's evolving as we change. What I look at everything like this. This is not just like when it comes to oppressed situations or somebody being inherently good or bad. I look at everything like this from that. I'm like, all right, there's a practical, physical perspective, and then there's something else. And I ask, how did this become this way? How did this individual become this way? How did these individuals become this way as a collective?
But it's a thing of that's great that you can separate it into say, but by all means, I think it's cool if you can separate individual circumstances from collective circumstances, but one doesn't trump the other. And if it did, it would be what's the collective circumstance versus what's the individual. Because it's a thing of, like Adam said, that's the typical experience of your average white person through the last, let's say, century, right? Couple that with false narratives like black on black crime, the war on drugs, et cetera, that constantly paints those people to be implicitly bad, of a victim, not say a victim of the circumstance, but creating their own circumstances as if there's no actual systemic oppression happening to them. We could be stuck here all day, and we need to be wrapping up. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all of these things are laid in place, and educationally, as well as news media, as well as Hollywood media, like all of this, all the imagery, all the rhetoric, all the narratives feed into that frame of mind. So by the time 4 generations have passed, it's just what's common knowledge isn't always true, because you have the common experience of those people who are being oppressed, and you have the common knowledge of those people who have been lied to that whole time. And you're saying how did it come to be? And it's clearly outlined how it came to be. So I don't get the questioning.
I don't. Well, I question everything or most things in general. That just seems to be perhaps that's inherent in me in general. And I do it to myself also. So maybe it's like an expression of that. But I can just personally go. I can go only from my personal experience of things have changed for me as well. I mean, I know how my outlook used to be, and it has changed drastically. And my surroundings have changed when I changed. To some degree, I just stopped caring about it as much. It just didn't have the same pull on me. And part of that, and that what came with part of that changes, I just don't. There feels like there's some balance in this universe. There has to be some. I genuinely can't see somebody as like, all right, they are inherently this way without. I feel like I wouldn't be able to see the quote unquote good in myself. There's like, if I did not even search or like look for something in common with this person. Also, I mean, if we're talking about a lot of the horrible, like the tragedies or the horrible things that happen in society, I'm saying, okay, how did that person come to do this? Oh, I see sadness in them. I've seen it in myself. They're obviously unhappy. They're searching for happiness they're looking the wrong way for happiness. And you're inevitably going to step on somebody's toes, harm people when you are doing that. I've seen that in myself. See it till this day still. Certain emotions, certain things like depression, all these things will push somebody individually and collectively to do horrible things to other people and this planet for who knows how long. I've seen that in myself. That's how I'm looking at all of this stuff. It doesn't mean that there's still not a physical level where, of course, there's oppression and it's ridiculous. Like, it's incredibly unfair. No one can deny that. But in my mind, from my perspective, no one can deny the other side as well. Otherwise, I don't see how are we really evolving then? If you're not asking those other questions, how are we really evolving? If you're not at some point trying to look for some commonality. How is there compassion when somebody does some harmful shit? I don't want to make the conclusion, oh, they're just inherently bad because they've done something. I've done harmful shit. I'm always reminded, like there's no, and I'm individually and collectively. There's no. How do you move on outside of doing that? I don't see it.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying directing particular feelings of this person is implicitly bad. No, I'm saying this person did something fucked up. By all means, we can ask how they got there, but we know the broad sense of, you came from this environment, you were raised this way, you were raised with this information in this place. These things contributed to how you were shaped and molded. And then we can go personally, these experiences, you got your you got your heart broke when you were 12. And then, your dad left you, yada, yada, like you got those personal experiences as well. And there's more questions we could ask always in that way. But treating all personal experiences as if there's probably not broader contributions to what shaped them, I think is a general disservice.
What I'm saying is, if we look at it that other way, in no way am I saying people don't deserve to be jailed, possibly murdered if you can stop war, like dictators. Like there's a practical. There's two. I'm not saying just one level. Everybody fucking fairy tale fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. Do what you have to do practically, no doubt about it. But in regards to moving forward, I don't see a moving forward if it's not inclusive. That means that, and that's what, of course, people who are oppressed are looking for inclusion, but inclusion means everybody. And I've found that a lot of times when in people's effort to say you want inclusion, we've been oppressed, blah, they're also making conclusions about they're making general conclusions about people who look like the ones who oppressed them also. So what I'm saying is I see the same shit happening. I see the same ego happening on both sides to me. I mean, I think you could paint that from the Holocaust and before until now. I don't see evolving happening in a real way. Then I feel like if we can come to some commonality, even internally, like having some compassion, whatever word you want to use for it, then we can move to like an actual more productive a more productive change for everybody, not an inclusion of African Americans and other minorities who clearly have not been included. Outside of that, a lot of it is like, all right, we're angry. And I get it 100%. But like once we can quell that and get through that experience, then I feel like we can really move forward and everybody's like, all right, how are we doing this? Like, can we put all this energy into just being productive and moving? But obviously, how can you say that when you...
But that part just implies that the other party is now cooperating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm speaking on the individuals. It's like, I feel like people are more productive when they feel better. You know what I'm saying? I am more productive when I feel better. Even if dysfunction is happening outside of me, if it's also happening inside of me, then there's no way. There's nothing good about that too.
If I feel great while I'm getting my ass beat, that don't necessarily make the situation better.
You ain't hearing me, man. You ain't hearing me.
No, I promise I'm trying to. I swear for low.
So for me,
go ahead.
Okay, so what it sounds like you're saying, it's like you're saying that you understand the fact that stuff is terrible for people, but you're saying that if people, like, I guess if people try to work on themselves and believe that they can get out of a situation, that their life will improve. Is that like in very short words? Are you saying that?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, if I'm going through some shit, and y'all know my past, you know what I'm saying? I was very different for sure. And I'm grateful for that actually, because it drove me deeper. I would not just feel the way I do. I think waking up naturally, if I hadn't driven deeper, asking different questions as opposed to like, fuck, when the thing's gonna change for me? You know what I'm saying? It was like, all right, what power do I have to step out of this? And certain people have stepped out of oppression. Certain people have stepped out of poverty or whatever. And I would want to ask them how the fuck you did it. I would say what I would want to learn from them. Let those people be some of the leaders who are like, all right, how can we inspire others? You know?
Yeah, I hear you.
But what I was saying is, if you're gonna go through some shit, now this is not widely publicized, but my thing is, if I'm gonna go through some shit, I would want to find a way. This is gonna sound so crazy and so stupid, I know, but how do I suffer as little as possible internally while this outside shit is going on, so I can handle it better? Because we already agree, a lot of people, white people, whatever, whoever the oppressors aren't trying to go nowhere. They ain't trying to go nowhere. We've agreed on that. So how do we make our experience a little bit better while that shit is happening and while we're fighting the good fight? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, like, okay, so like, well, this is a fact. The fact is, some people aren't in a position to feel good, regardless of their mental. Like, there are some people who are living in absolute hell. Like, there's people who don't have both parents at home. If they have a parent at home, and I'm not saying this is everyone's experience, but I'm saying there are people that exist that live like this. So you have people that have cracked out parents, and they're poor. They don't make a lot of money. They go to terrible schools. There's violence and drugs all around them. And then, so for a person like that, it's hard for them to be like, well, I'm gonna try to keep a positive mindset, because it's like there is no positivity in their life. So it's hard to say, it's hard for me to tell a person like that to be like, man, just think about.
No, that's a really good point. Let me actually speak on that. That's a really good point. That I agree with you 100%. Like, I ain't about to go up to somebody who's starving, who's literally starving, and be like, yo, you want to do this yoga, this meditation? No, you need some fucking food. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need an opportunity. You need a job. You need a home. You need an address so you can put it on an application so you can get a job.
Correct.
Better. Like, you need, of course, that's the practical part. You know what I'm saying? I'm not living in some fucking heavenly fairy tale, whatever. I'm understanding that for sure. I just wish, I guess, we pushed other means also, because I realize once you get the opportunity, you get this, you get that stuff, there's still depression, there's still sadness, there's still comparing, there's still all these things that could psychologically make you suffer, even when shit outside of you ain't doing anything. And so it's a scientific fact that you could be you could be laying in your bed comfy, and your mind does not know the difference between a memory and what's actually presently happening in the moment. So you could think a thought and your body will react emotionally as if you should be fearful when you're cozy in your safe bed at home. That shit is crazy, man. That shit is crazy. So I'm understanding, give people opportunity, of course, for sure. I'm just saying, also promote this other aspect, this other side of like what you giving yourself back, like you giving yourself power for free. Like, promote certain methods that are scientifically changed people's chemistry, so they've been able to go about their day, which everybody's challenged, but they handle it more gracefully. Why can't we promote that shit also, and then go up against the shit you're fighting? Because a lot of us can't even handle our own shit, the little shit that we go through in a day without being sad or being thrown off or whatever. So of course, and you can't always blame it on some big thing. And sometimes it's like, shit, I woke up not feeling good, or these are my fucking thoughts tearing me up today, or something happened in my relationship or whatever. All that ain't outside shit. All that ain't race shit. All that ain't whatever. Some of that shit is just us. What can I do to get myself out of the way so that I can actually do something significant towards working on something, especially in my day? That's what I'm saying. This ain't no fairy tale.
Are true. Both.
That's what I'm saying. True. Both sides. That's what I'm saying. But the other side that I'm talking about is it's not always promoted. It's just the you know.
Yeah.
I wish other shit was promoted more. Also,
wouldn't it be nice though if say like you're a parent, like you and your significant other have kids, and like say like your biggest concern with these kids was, you know, I wonder if they're gonna get into this college or that college. What if that was your biggest concern versus I wonder if my kid is gonna get shot by the police today?
Right. I think what we're talking about is like if we could take the part about basic survival out of what we have to worry about, is like it is like I don't know if y'all ever looked at like the chakra thing, but like if y'all, I mean, some people think it's real, some people think it's fake, whatever. But the ideas of what they're saying.
I've had experience with it, so I'm like,
yeah.
Do that.
So, but the actual idea of what they're saying is like the lowest vibration you can have here is have to worry about your survival 24/7. And that if that basic need is not met, then we're living in a place, like Adam said, is basically like hell. That you can't even worry, you can't even think about mental, elevation, like, like progressing in any other facet of life beyond survival. That's what animals do in the wild. You know what I'm saying?
Animals are probably more peaceful than humans. What I've seen so far.
But they
take what they need.
What I'm saying, that's all they do. You know, that's why they function. But us being humans is like, for us to be stuck at survival is like is a shame that a lot of people on this earth are still at that level, and they weren't ever given a chance.
I agree.
Yeah, dare I say, most people in this world are probably at that level.
I agree.
Right.
And I would want to take like the people who are in quote unquote in power and doing the oppressing. They I'm not saying just for the oppressed. I'm saying for everybody. I'm saying like specifically the people who don't want to leave or don't want to go to work need real methods of change. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Inclusive, everything inclusive. That's
And I'm with you, man. I hear and feel all of that. I do believe that internal work is always going to be necessary when you're trying to do more macro work.
That's what
but it's always that thing of, as Adam and Marcus just said, everybody ain't a lot of the space in order to be there. The only not only example, like the first example that jumps to mind was we're gonna go back to my mountain adventures. I'm in rural America, and I'm out with a friend and a couple other associates. I walk into this smoky bar, and I walk in, and of course, keep it very honest. I do the thing that I kind of have to do. Is I'm walking into a bar in rural America. I got to look around. And so I look around and I do see people, kind of side eye me, drink their beer. I go on about my business. Feel like, hey, if y'all gonna step, you're gonna step. And so then I go
in the name of love.
I go to the bar. And I told my homegirl, I was like, yo, what do you want to drink? I go to the bar and I'm sitting there about to order some drinks. And this guy walks up to me and he goes, hey, brother, kind of whiskey you drinking? Let me get something for you. And I think I said this on the podcast before. I'll say it again. I hate when white men say brother. It bothers me so much. Just hearing ER on any word makes me and so I was like, oh yeah, sure, man. I'll take a shot of whiskey, like whatever you get, and I'll take. And so we get the shots, and he's like, I just want to let you know I'm a sheriff from the town over, and a couple guys are looking at you real strong. So if they want to get fucked up, I got your back. And it was such an array of emotions in that moment of like, camaraderie that this dude felt the need to do that and feel that way and say that. So I'm grateful. And at the same time, I'm like, y'all really about to jump me for just being a black dude in the bar?
That's what I was like thinking. Like, is this crazy. A common thing around here? Like, these things
and it was
here?
that thing. It was literally that thing that he was like, yo, I'm just in town because I want to come over here for a little bit, which really makes you wonder how small his town is that he came to this one for a good time. And it was a thing of, not only did he clock the threat, he felt the need to go, hey, I got you. If I got your back, if some shit pops off, I'll even help you with the cops if they show up. Do I know if that's true? I want to believe. But it's like, if the cops show up, I, as a fellow cop, will speak up for you.
Could have been just trying to get you drunk.
Could have done that. Trust and believe, my eyes stayed on that glass.
I was about to say, man, yeah.
But it's that thing where I'm like, I want to go into this space. I want to grab my drink. I want to play some pool, maybe sing some karaoke and mind my fucking business. But I am a threat when I walk into a room, and that space to just work on me and feel good ain't always there.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I think first of all, I do know that I'm entirely too hard on myself in general, for sure, because I'm like that. Like this, I tell myself this same thing in any situation. I mean, and that's like, I usually address my experience of the situation first before I assess the situation. I always address my experience of it first, meaning like I'm taking like responsibility, or I blame myself for the experience I'm having first. But I'm definitely probably too hard on myself, but I feel like it's the only thing that I feel like it's helped me. I feel like it's helped me. But I do want to. I want to be clear, yo, that I hope this doesn't come off. At least you guys know me better than pretty much almost anybody out there who's most folks who's listening. Hope this doesn't come off like I'm some pull yourself up from your bootstraps, or like quit, you're not impressed, or quit blaming. Like, nah, that ain't. I recognize it. I'm just saying there are two sides. Like there's a side where, yeah, this shit is crazy, but all I'm saying is there are other options. Until that change you want comes, I think there are options to make it to make your experience a little bit better. As an individual, that's coming from my experience, of course.
Said we.
No, I'm talking about free. I'm talking about free. Free means free. I don't know. It's hard for me not to look at things individually, at specific situations. And the media doesn't. It's like it hits you with the same shit back to back, so you see 1,000 different things. I check myself every time I walk into a room, and I know I have an expectation. I walk in with whatever motives. I walk in already having made a conclusion about how something's going to happen, how they're going to look at me. If I'm looking for beef, if I'm looking for how somebody going to look at me right now, I'm always clocking myself with that shit, because it's so easy to do, and it can filter every experience that I have, and that it just feels less natural. It feels less genuine for me, and it just doesn't feel as good. I operate much better when I'm a little more open to the situation. I'm not having so many conclusions going in or going out. So that's like where I'm coming from. I'm not in any way trying to negate what's going on for people. Like I've been through a lot of shit. I've been poor. I've like not eating. I missed a lot of meals. I mean, we were, no joke. And just to like clarify for other people, I'm not some privileged. I'm not coming around like talking like I don't understand what people are going through. I mean, there were times where all we ate was one bowl of cereal the whole day for months. I mean, we literally look like those kids you see on those commercials when they're like, yo, if you give with the huge tummies and like skinny ass body, you know, and the big head and the big ass head and shit. I'm just saying that I've been through some serious shit. Like it's no. I'm saying it's why can't we look at certain people as like, oh shit, okay, if they can change, perhaps my situation, some hope maybe. I'm not a huge, but hope maybe.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Appreciate the clarification. It's one of those things. If we all have had our trials and tribulations, even as Black men from Gary, we all have had our strives. We all also have a bit of privilege that we all respectively have, right? And so there's different aspects of privilege that we all are a part of. That I can't speak for y'all experience, but I know I've had to check my own over the years and all that kind of stuff, and trying to work on that. But it's that thing of, it's all self-evaluation. Inside that self-evaluation, the goal is growth, and the goal is for you to be able to make the best experience out of whatever challenges you're facing. But sometimes your circumstances and your environments ain't really, they don't really give a fuck about how you're trying to feel better about how you're getting through it, and you can work against it, you can work with it. So I hear you. And
yeah. I'm not saying this is about any. Yeah, this ain't about nobody else but the individual. This ain't about nobody else but you, that individual.
Well,
if you're going through, go ahead.
For me, it's about all the shit. But Marco, go ahead.
Everybody, we all need our basic needs met before we think about anything else in this life, like our safety, our our well-being, our general, do we eat, all those things that some may take for granted. Those are the things that everybody has to worry about first. But anything after that,
I agree with you.
Is just like
5 more minutes, man. All right, look. All right, no, we gotta wrap.
No, come on, don't cut Marcus off. Don't cut Marcus off.
No, I was just saying, okay. Anything after that, those basic needs is like pretty obvious. I mean,
yeah,
I said that the other way around. Those basic needs are the obvious things that everybody needs.
Right.
But after that, like, I think we can figure that part out without, killing each other.
I think, I would just ask also, how much of that suffering or whatever's going on is the basic needs outside of psychological and emotional. I think that's a serious question to ask in regards to that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure people,
in your mind, you're always gonna have it worse off than you really, and then you can't always have it worse off than you really think. Or in your mind, if you like somebody, you exaggerate them. If you don't like them, you definitely exaggerate it in your mind. I mean, just little, like, I'm just saying how much of this suffering is actual basic needs and physical, as opposed to your own mind. You doing it to yourself and not knowing how to turn that shit off.
I was just saying, I guess I was saying, like, those things are tangible,
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. That'll be all.
Hope you enjoyed that. Yeah.
I love how every time, so for those, because y'all don't know what the fuck we're doing on the production side, every time I write 15 minutes in the chat, a whole new conversation that has to last for the hour has to start. I swear to goodness, we don't be trying to make these episodes this damn long. But but it's okay. It's okay. The debate is real. It's a moment of vulnerability. We're being forthright. We're being honest, and that's what the podcast is about. And we encourage you. Yeah, and we want to encourage y'all to do that as well. Because what's going to happen most of the time is those conversations that you have with people you love that are hard and difficult, or that you may not just understand fully. You need to have those conversations, and you may feel like you don't have the time for that conversation. You don't have the energy for that conversation. It may be some emotional labor in that conversation, but you got to fucking have that conversation. If y'all are really trying to grow, if you really trying to
energy right now because I'm hungry.
That's real.
I feel you.
Mark is laid in the cut for most of that. We want to thank y'all for listening once again to the InforMILLy podcast. Last words, gentlemen.
I got some. I want to apologize to Adam once again for this, for the long episode, for the length and the editing process coming.
Sorry.
Hereafter.
Yeah. Apology rejected. But my last words are thanks for listening. If you've been listening, for the last 3 months or so,
Mm-hmm.
And share. You know what? I do have something a little bit more. Okay, so we appreciate if you share this. I feel like the best way to share it is indirectly. So if you're in the car with somebody, just turn on the episode and hopefully they're like, you know, what's this? And then so that's gonna be my homework assignment. If you're in the vicinity of somebody else, just play an episode.
But people don't want them to be able to say, I put you on. No, you didn't. I already knew. I've been listening to them since.
But yo, like
video.
Especially because we appreciate what that y'all have shared the clips that Adam worked so diligently on making. We're giving we're giving you the 60-second. Now we're giving you like that 3 minute, that 6 minute, that length of some people's sex lives, and we want y'all to give when you share it, say something. Don't like it's great if you just share the video. That's fantastic. We appreciate it. But tell people, like, oh shit, these dudes talking. Man, I didn't even know that happened to Amy Winehouse. Oh shit, let me go check out that doc. I'm going to watch it right now. Okay. And so, let us know. By all means, we're talking about music on here. We're talking about an array of topics. I'm about to hop back into watching some more Supermarket Sweep. And so we all got great things happening, and we want to make sure that we can encourage other people to have these conversations as well. Marco, do you have anything?
Nah, man. Just again, I'd like to say thank you for everybody. We enjoy doing this just to do it.
Just to do it,
just amongst ourselves. But to have other people feedback is pretty cool, man. Like just to hear other point of views. And also just to know that people, actually care about the topics and appreciate our, what we do.
Man. Yep. Love y'all, man. Appreciate the conversation as always. We are 4 brothers, different mothers and fathers, no blood relation, that pride ourselves on having completely and utterly candid, challenging conversations rooted in being forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. With the InforMILLy Honest podcast, catch us on IG, catch us on Facebook, catch us on IGTV, and catch us on that YouTube-ish, which you already are if you're watching. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Marcus's fingers look like a vagina closing.
Please don't put a price on this hue of color. Can't afford to lose my own brother.